I never thought my own son would stand in my living room and demand money from me like I was some stranger instead of the man who raised him. It was a quiet Tuesday evening. I was relaxing with a book when I heard a knock at the door. My son Tyler and his wife Brooke walked in without waiting for an invitation. Tyler looked tense. He didn't even sit down. He stood there with his arms crossed and said angrily, "Dad, I need $90,000 right now." His wife Brooke stood right beside him, staring at me with cold eyes, waiting for my answer. The tone in his voice made it very clear. This wasn't a polite request. It was a demand. I looked at both of them for a long moment, then smiled calmly and said, "Okay." Just one simple word. No argument. No questions. Tyler seemed surprised but relieved. They left my house thinking they had finally won. If you're watching Behind Dad for the first time, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications. This channel shares real, raw stories from fathers who have faced disrespect, betrayal, and ingratitude from their own family. Stick with me. I had been quietly preparing for this moment for months. While they were driving home, celebrating, I made several important phone calls to my lawyer and financial advisor. Everything was already in motion. They thought they were about to receive a big payday. They had no idea they were walking straight into the hardest lesson of their lives. I wasn't going to shout or argue. I was going to let my actions speak louder than any words ever could. Tyler had always seen me as a soft-hearted father who would eventually give in to whatever he wanted. He never realized how much I had been observing their behavior and protecting myself. For months, I had been moving assets into an irrevocable trust for my 2 grandkids and documenting every disrespectful conversation and message. For hours after they left my house, I heard their car pull up outside again. I watched quietly from the window as Tyler and Brooke walked up the driveway looking excited and confident. They rang the doorbell multiple times. When I didn't answer, they noticed a medium-sized cardboard box sitting neatly on the porch with their names written on it in big black letters. Tyler laughed and said, "I told you he would come through. Dad always does." Brooke smiled and helped him open the box right there on the porch under the porch light. The moment they looked inside, both of them started screaming loudly. Their voices cut through the quiet neighborhood. Brooke dropped the box like it burned her hands. Tyler's face went completely pale. He looked like he had seen a ghost. Inside the box were not stacks of cash or checks. The top document was a formal letter from my attorney explaining that I had transferred all my savings, investments, and property into a permanent trust for my grandchildren. Tyler and Brooke's names had been completely removed from any future inheritance. Another document showed that I had filed a formal report with the authorities regarding Tyler's previous shady business dealings. There were also printed screenshots of their private text messages and voice notes where they called me useless, planned to put me in a nursing home after getting the money, and laughed about how they would control everything once I was gone. The evidence was overwhelming. They started banging on my front door like crazy people. Tyler was shouting at the top of his lungs, "Dad, open this door right now." "What the hell is this?" Brooke was crying and screaming too. I stayed calm inside the house for several minutes, letting them feel the weight of their actions. Finally, I opened the door just enough to see their shocked and angry faces. I spoke in a calm, steady voice. "You demanded $90,000 from me with anger and entitlement. I decided to give you something far more valuable. The truth about how I really feel and what I have decided." Brooke was shaking and crying. Tyler looked completely lost and desperate. He tried to apologize, saying it was just stress from work and they didn't really mean those things. But the printed messages and recordings in the box, I had given them chance after chance to treat me with respect. But the way they demanded such a huge amount of money was the final breaking point. I explained that the trust was permanent and could not be changed. The authorities had already been notified about Tyler's past actions. Their plan to drain me financially and then abandon me had completely backfired. That night, they left my house with nothing except shame, anger, and a heavy box full of evidence that could destroy their reputation and future if they ever tried anything against me again. The power dynamic in our family had shifted completely in that moment. The following weeks were emotionally difficult, but very necessary for everyone. Tyler called me dozens of times, every day leaving long, emotional voicemails begging and crying. Brooke even came to my house alone one afternoon trying to guilt-trip me and saying I was being cruel to my own son. I stayed firm and respectful. I told them both clearly that respect is not something you can demand with anger. It must be earned through genuine love and honesty. I began focusing more on my grandkids. We started having regular weekends together, fishing trips, park visits, movie nights, and long conversations. They became the real source of joy in my life. Meanwhile, Tyler and Brooke's marriage started facing serious problems under the financial pressure. The truth about how they had treated me slowly spread through the extended family. I didn't do any of this to completely destroy them. I did it to protect my own future and secure a better life for my grandchildren. For the first time in many years, I finally felt free. I started traveling more, joined a local golf club, and began volunteering at a youth mentoring program. I was finally living life on my own terms, instead of constantly trying to please ungrateful children. 6 months have now passed since that dramatic night with the box on the porch. Tyler and Brooke are still struggling to adjust to their new reality. They had to sell their luxury car and downsize to a smaller house. Tyler finally got a regular job and is learning how to live without constant handouts. He has started visiting me more humbly, not asking for money, but just to talk and rebuild our relationship. I have told him I am open to healing slowly, but only with real respect and change behavior moving forward. My grandkids are doing wonderfully. They feel secure knowing their grandpa will always be there for them no matter what. This entire experience taught me one of the most important lessons a father can learn. Love should never be completely one-sided. Sometimes you have to let your children face real consequences so they can grow into better, more responsible people. If this story touched you or felt familiar, drop a comment below and tell me honestly, what would you have put in that box if you were in my place? Have you ever been used or disrespected by your own children? Your stories matter and help other fathers feel less alone. Please share this video with any dad who might be going through something similar. If you want more real and powerful stories from fathers facing family betrayal, disrespect, and finding their strength again, make sure you're subscribed to Behind Dad with notifications turned on. I'm Richard Thompson, and this was my story. Never let anyone treat your kindness as weakness, your peace, your dignity, and your future matter just as much as anyone else's. Stay strong, stay wise, and protect what you have built. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. I'll see you in the next one.